One morning, Lily arrived at Elsbridge with a newly scheduled passenger train. She had a guaranteed connection with one of Henry's trains. After a couple of minutes, she looked over, annoyed.
Where is he?
Henry should have been there, but there was no sign of the green engine or his passengers. A moment later, a horn sounded out. Looking down the line, Lily spotted Bear approaching with the connecting train.
Morning, Lily.
Good morning, Bear.
Sorry about the delay. Henry was unavailable.
He has not stolen a tunnel again by any chance?
No, he had some trouble with his water feed pipe. He'll be bringing my goods down once it's sorted.
I see. I'm afraid I must be going, Bear.
Lily departed, leaving a bemused Bear behind her.
Stalled in a tunnel.
Bear departed a few moments later, still puzzled. He knew that the tunnel between Crovan's Gate and Vickerstown was called Henry's Tunnel by the engines, but it was flat and level. Not the type of track where an engine could stall easily. Maybe, thought the Jaime, he would have to ask Henry about it later. Bear didn't get a chance to talk to Henry until later that afternoon, when he returned to the Knapford sheds.
Henry, can I ask you something?
Of course, Bear.
That tunnel just after Crovan's Gate, why is it known as Henry's Tunnel?
Henry glanced down for a moment, embarrassed.
I stopped in there once, as I thought the rain would spoil my paint.
You did what?
Ah, Bear, back then, I was just young and foolish.
Henry looked closely at the other engine.
We've known each other for quite a few years. Why are you asking this now?
It was something Lily said when I met her at Elsbridge this morning with your train.
Bear said, and he recounted his conversation with Lily. Henry frowned.
I see. I didn't really know her that well back in the day. After all, we were on different lines. But she never really seemed to like me.
I have my reasons, Henry.
Henry and Bear looked over. Lily was just stopping next to the water tower, having brought a goods train down from Toyrek. She was glaring angrily at Henry.
Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. He went into a tunnel and squeaked through its funnel and wouldn't come out again. While the silly old engine was gone, everyone else felt put upon. Trains were cancelled or late, we were left in a state, and knew not what would be done. You gave no thought to looking after your passengers at all, Henry, nor what your selfish decision would mean for the rest of the railway.
Yes, I was given the cold bunker by a few of the other engines once I got out, especially by you. I know it caused some delays, and I did apologize for that, but it's not like I caused an accident or anything.
Colin would beg to differ.
A confused frown crossed Henry's face, but it was Bear who spoke.
Who's Colin?
He was our number one on the Wildnorwester and Sodor Railway. He was a small tank engine built by Pecker and Sons. He helped build the line before Adam and I arrived.
I see.
When the North West Railway was formed, he was assigned to shunting duties along with Roger from the Sodor and mainland. That changed the day after Henry's foolish decision.
Lily paused and thought back to that day. It was the morning after Henry had been bricked up in the tunnel, and Lily was resting in her shed at Tidmouth Holt. Her fireman had only just got a nice fire going when a familiar whistle sounded out. Lily looked over to see Colin approaching her shed. She frowned, slightly puzzled.
Colin, what brings you this way?
Director's orders, Lily.
Before Colin could elaborate, the Fat Director climbed down from his cab. Lily, I don't know if you have heard of this, but Henry will not be available to take mainline trains for the foreseeable future.
I am aware of it, sir. Winston informed me yesterday afternoon.
The Red Engine, who usually handled mine trains from the Mid-Sodor Railway, had been sent to try and push Henry and his train out of the tunnel. Henry's trains will need to be looked after, as best as we can manage. Now, as you are aware, I have been having some trouble obtaining extra engines of late.
Are you asking me to help look after Henry's trains, sir?
Yes. Lily frowned, concerned. She was happy to help, but she was the only engine on the Aylesbury branch.
Sir, what about my trains? My passengers?
Will be looked after by Colin. Lily blinked, surprised, and looked doubtfully at Colin.
Don't worry, Lily. I was handling trains on our railway before you and Adam arrived, remember?
Yes, but that was a good few years ago. Trucks have begun heavier since then, and trained longer. I do not doubt your capability, Colin, but I'm not sure if your brakes can handle the loads that need to be taken on this branch.
I appreciate your concern, Lily, but I won't be taking anything I can't handle.
That was what worried Lily. She knew Colin well, and was aware that he had a tendency to overestimate his abilities. She didn't want any disturbances on her branch line while she was gone.
Very well. Am I to take over Henry's trains now, sir?
Indeed, Lily. Lily departed a few moments later, with the fat director hitching a ride back to Tidmouth in her cab.
May I say something, sir?
By all means, Lily.
Colin is a good engine, sir, and he does mean well, but he does have some trouble knowing where his limits lie.
I am aware of that, Lily, and I have discussed it with Colin. He has assured me that he will be careful. Lily smiled, her anxiety subsiding slightly. After all, Colin did pride himself on being an engine of his word. Over the next few days, Lily and Adam helped the other engines run the main line. Some of Henry's trains had been cancelled, temporarily. Others had been given a looser schedule to allow the tank engines additional water stops. Lily and Adam worked hard, and the other engines helped out where they could, too. Colin was also working hard, doing his best to maintain the Islesborough branch line's services. He knew how important Lily's branch was to her, and filled her in on the latest news whenever he saw her at the junction. Things were running smoothly on the Islesborough branch, and I'm afraid to say, Colin's confidence soon began to get the better of him.
One morning, about a week after Henry had gone into the tunnel, Colin was arranging a train in the Tidmouth yard. He'd just positioned the last couple of trucks when Edward steamed in.
Morning, Colin.
Morning, Edward. Are any of those for me?
The 2 milk tanks and ventilated vans, I believe. They've got a dairy shipment for the Arlesburg County Fair.
Both engines jumped as a large crack of thunder boomed out.
I'd better take it with this lot. It may spoil if it's left here during a storm.
Edward frowned and glanced over at Colin's trucks.
Are you sure? It looks like your train is pretty full already.
Oh, the trucks don't give me any trouble. I can handle them.
A few minutes later, Colin finished shunting the dairy wagons onto the front of his train, then departed. Unfortunately, the trucks had overheard what he'd said to Edward.
"He can handle us, can he? We'll see about that."
Just after Clifton, the line sloped down towards Holdress Station. This was where the trucks made their move.
Go on,
Yelled the trucks, and they bumped forwards. Colin found himself picking up speed, rapidly.
Driver, brakes!
Colin's driver applied the brakes, and the tank engine braked for all he was worth. He could feel his brake shoes heating up, but the train only slowed slightly. He gasped as he hurtled towards Holdress Station.
Driver, fireman, jump clear!
Colin's crew took their chance, jumping clear. Colin managed to stay on the tracks as he passed the station. Colin hit the curve, following it for a moment. On the up line, Winston stopped. He was bringing a mine train up from Islesborough and had seen the whole accident.
Colin, are you alright?
The red engine called as Colin's crew ran up to him.
I'm not sure, Winston. Could you go and get help?
Of course.
Winston quickly chuffed off, while Colin's trucks giggled. Colin didn't really hear them, though. He was thinking about what Lily had said when he'd taken over the branch line. It had stopped raining by the time Lily arrived with the breakdown train. She quickly set about helping the workmen get Colin and his trucks back on the rails. Once the trucks had been cleared away, the workmen laid temporary rails under Colin's wheels. A rope was tied between him and Lily, and the latter slowly began pulling the tank engine back onto the rails.
I'm glad you're not too damaged, Colin.
Colin would have to go to the works for repairs, but fortunately, most of the damage had been to his front buffer beam.
What happened?
I think I may have been a bit overconfident.
Oh, Colin, I did try to warn you.
I know, Lily. I'm sorry.
But, as the workmen untied the rope from between the two engines, an upsetting realization hit Lily.
That accident wasn't completely Colin's fault.
Lily finished, with a pointed look at Henry.
Hang on, you mean it was partly my fault? But I wasn't even there.
If you'd been pulling your trains on the main line, like you should have been, Colin wouldn't have been in a position to have that accident. We both know I needed to be on the main line to cover your trains, and that Colin was the only engine available to cover mine.
Hold on. You said yourself that Colin made a mistake.
The fact is, Henry, that had you not indulged in your vanity, I'd have been taking the train. Colin would not have had his accident, and my branch line wouldn't have had to shut down for 3 days.
Lily chuffed off a moment later, her water stop completed. Henry and Bear watched her go, stunned.
Well, that's...
Just something I suspected at the time, but nobody really said anything.
Well, it's a little too late to worry about that now. I mean, those events happened, 86 years ago?
Yes, but Lily was asleep under the ocean for most of those years. 1923 must seem like almost yesterday for her.
You've got a point.
Bear looked closely at his friend.
Surely she must be able to see you've changed since then.
Yep, that may take a while. Until then, I guess I'll just have to deal with it.
As Henry departed to take his next train, he couldn't help hoping that Lily would get over her grudge towards him one day. After all, conflict between engines was never helpful.